Hello, everyone, and good evening. Welcome to Reality Hour. I'm Adam Samuel. Today, it's Queen Week for Dancing with the Stars, and we are here. We are live, and joining me is my co-host Grace. How you doing today?
I am the queen of Reality Hour in more ways than one. One, I'm the only girl. Two, I am the two-time reigning champion. And unfortunately, I lost another contestant this week, but I'm doing okay. I got my COVID booster about an hour ago, and so far I'm feeling okay.
Knock on wood. Yeah, and also joining is a special guest. We got Eric. How you doing today, Eric?
I'm okay. Grace offered me the opportunity to come on and shit on Jay Leno, and I'm not gonna pass up that opportunity anytime. But seriously, why I decided I would come on, it's like right after I thought I was gonna come and shit on Jay Leno, I got an idea. We should have a new segment on Reality Hour, and that segment is catching up with alumni. So we're gonna talk about what some of the other contestants that we've covered in the past have been up to lately.
I think this is a good segment for Eric because he's much more. He keeps up with a lot of people more than I do. Maybe Grace does also too.
I really only catch up with the alumni that I care about, but I know that
so do I.
My other half, David Archuleta, released a new song today, and I just never had time to listen to it.
Okay, so the way I catch up with alumni is I look at the headlines at MJ's big blog and I find stuff. Because I can't remember everything otherwise. My favorite news of the week is that Simon Cowell, you know him, Simon, the judge I used to like
that
and
guy
I can't stand. So he was going to be launching a new terrible format in the UK with a game show called Walk the Line to replace the deceased and never forgotten X Factor.
Forever in our hearts it lives, Eric.
Forever in my heart. But so he's not going to be a judge on the show after all. Basically, the format of the show is that you contestants will show up each week, new contestants every week, and they can sing. Whoever wins the episode gets either a cash prize, or they can come back next week to compete against more people and have the cash prize grow. Seems like before, except worse and terrible, and without any chance of launching a star. So, in other words, I'm out. But we thought Simon was going to be a judge on it, and it turns out he's not. And it turns out that Gary Barlow, former X Factor judge, and the one who was better than Simon, is going to be joining the panel instead. And so this is surprising for two reasons. One, Simon passing up an opportunity to show up his face on TV. And two, the fact that he's willing to work up with Gary Barlow again, and that Gary Barlow is willing to work with him again, considering there was a tell-all book, and Gary Barlow was not very happy about his time on the X Factor, and I can see why. And so that was.
Were they ever on a season together?
They were never on a season together, and that was intentional.
I didn't think so.
What? Anyway, that was the first thing. I just thought I had to share that story. And then the other story is obviously the aforementioned Kelly Clarkson's show is having a guest host, and that is Jay Leno tomorrow. And this has caused me to come up with a new theory about Kelly Clarkson. And the theory is that she hangs out with horrible guys. Just has a pattern.
Just realizing this now.
Yes, I know. It's like it's the most obvious theory in the world, but yes, she hangs out with horrible men. Mark Burnett, her ex-husband, and now Jay Leno. So
Blake Shelton.
Sure.
The voice
producers. I was thinking of the other three first, but
the voice producers.
That
includes Mark Burnett.
No.
That equals Mark Burnett.
I thought it was very, very clever, but now my day is ruined. But pretty cool stuff going on.
Mm-hmm. I actually have another one.
Oh, go ahead.
So X Factor's, I don't even think she's the most successful UK winner anymore, but Leona Lewis is going to be a judge on a new singing show on, I think, Paramount Plus called Queen of the Universe, and it's a singing competition with all drag queens. So
That sounds awesome.
I
will
mean,
say,
I'm sure some
I've
people
met
out there will
Leona,
watch it.
and I'll say I've met Leona, and she is by far the nicest of any of the celebrities I've ever met. She's super
believe that.
engaging, super warm. She's a wonderful person, so good for her. And let's see, whatever news is there. I'm gonna throw one more in there, which is that Chris Allen and David Cook did a tour of the UK together, and I watched a live stream of the London show, and that was the UK and Europe. It finally happened. They've been planning it for 2 years, and the live stream was awesome. And you can't watch it because it already happened and it's no longer saved, but it was great. And that's the updates.
All right. Well, let's get into Dancing with the Stars here because we had an episode, we had an elimination, we had a pretty shocking bottom two. Very close call. But yeah, thoughts, Grace?
We'll get there, but as soon as the bottom two were announced, I mean, did any of you really think that the judges were going to save the Miz over JoJo?
I don't know.
I sure
the Miz seem to have some pretty big. You never know with these shows. Like obviously, JoJo should not just have not been in the bottom two, but she should win this season. We might have another rule for the finale, by the way, coming up if she does win. But yeah, you never know.
She's out. She's not gonna win.
Stop it! Don't put things into the universe like that.
You know,
we'll
I can
get
say
to that when we talk about.
She got the highest scores, and she was in the bottom two. She's not winning.
You know, the only place you could go is up, Eric,
or down, or out of the competition. Both are the options.
Yeah, this is a good point. Matthew's bringing up. Grace, is this true?
I didn't see any of that personally. Like I said, I was in no way surprised. But I'm going to bring up a point. Have any of you guys ever watched The Big Bang Theory?
I have dabbled in it.
Okay, so there's an episode where Sheldon, oh God, they were going to see this like midnight premiere of a movie, and Sheldon was just like, we need to get in line, we need to get in line. And instead of saying, I told you so, he changed it to, I informed you thusly. So, Adam, I'm just going to say it. I informed you thusly that she was not going to win.
Look, I want JoJo to win, but, you know, if it can't be JoJo, it could be Cody, could be Jimmy, and it could be Olivia. But anyone else is...
It's not going to be Olivia.
That's as far as I can go.
If Olivia wins, I will literally wear the blanket for the entire podcast.
That bad? I mean, look, let's just compare it this way. So there are 8 people.
If Bobby Bones had won, I would have done it. If we had done this when Bobby Bones won, I would have done this too.
All right, but let's compare. Like moving into the final 8, we've each got 4 contestants each. Of those 4 each, how many? What's the ratio for people who've been in the bottom 2? Like.
You have 2 people that have been in the bottom 2. I have 1.
And ironically, neither of them were Cody.
I said this about Bobby Bones. Cody shares a lot of the same fan base as Dancing with the Stars, the 40-year-old soccer moms. Those are the same people that voted for Bobby Bones.
You know, maybe we'll see like a surprise win. Because assuming we get, hypothetically, the winner isn't someone who was in the bottom 2. Who does that leave?
The last 2 years, it hasn't been.
The last 2 years, someone was in the bottom 2, went on to win.
The last 2 winners had never been in the bottom 2.
Who was the one before?
The one before that was Bobby Bones, and they didn't have results back then that way. So we don't know if Bobby was ever in the bottom 2. He could have been.
Hopefully. I say that while I have his book on my desk that I still have to read. Still working through one more that I have to finish before I can get onto it. But yeah, what a shock. And I just gotta ask Grace, like, how did we get here? How did JoJo end up in the bottom 2?
She got Sabrina. This happens this week 6 or 7 is always when the plants see the red light. Sabrina Bryan was the original season 5, which is the same year that Mel B was on the show and unfortunately lost. Sabrina Bryan, who was from the Cheetah Girls, was at the time the biggest plant to ever plant on this show. Week 6, she was eliminated. Week 4, she got a perfect score. Week 6, she was gone. Same thing happened to her in the All-Star season. Same thing happened to Heather Morris. The plants, this is right around when the plants get their backlash that they should have been getting all season.
But I gotta say, like, at this point, looking forward, who do you think is gonna be our winner? Like, honestly, I have no idea. I truly, I
don't either.
I don't know, man. Like, I just, like, Jimmy, could he win? Could Melora? Could Amanda?
I think Melora can. Jimmy, I think he could be in the finale. He's been pretty good the last 2 weeks. That contemporary is still on my mind. A lot of people are pulling for Iman now after
it's
1 week.
A very, like, I was saying this to Grace before we went live. Say what you will about, like, the level of celebrity, but this is a really good season. Surprisingly good. And good talent. Like, the names don't always make the season, and I think this is kind of a shining spotlight of it. But Eric, I know you're not the biggest, viewer of the season so far, but from where you're at looking
understatement of the century, but continue.
But from where you are looking in, have you heard anything about the season? Any names that you've kind of seen a lot of people talking about, or thoughts that people have?
Okay, so my perspective, and I put this in the private chat, is that the reason that JoJo was in the bottom 2 is because the entire LGBTQ rights movement is behind her, and the entire anti-LGBTQ rights movement is against her. Because, I mean, Cody's gay as well, but the difference is that Cody is dancing with a woman and JoJo is also dancing with a woman. And Cody's not getting the whole LGBTQ rights movement push behind him as JoJo is. And the backlash is, unfortunately, I think, what's causing that. Because objectively, she should win. I mean, she should
Cody's
win.
Cody's also not a plant. Or like a ringer. JoJo
Cody's
is a
the opposite of a plant. He's just like, Cody's not even a celebrity. What are you talking about? I mean, he
doesn't even have a
ride a bike. He rides a bike.
He rides a bike.
It's a stationary bike.
But his demographic intersects with the demographic of the show. And
exactly,
more importantly, the people who have Pelotons and ride the bike are freaking obsessed with him. So I genuinely think that if we're talking about it's not about having the most fans. It's about having the fans who are passionate enough to actually vote for you. I think he's a threat. I still think he's a threat. And the reason I think
he's even still there proves that.
I mean, yes, he's still there.
Because if this season were about dancing alone, he'd be gone by now.
Oh, yes. But it's not going to matter.
All right. Well, let's actually get into the deep dive here. Let's start going through these performances. So,
on that note, I'm going to drop off before you do because I have nothing else to add. And I just wanted to show Bash J. Leno, have my segment, and then leave.
We're going to miss you, Eric. We miss podcasting with you, buddy.
I'll see y'all later. Have a good deep dive. Bye.
Yeah, we'll see. You'll join us for Big Brother, maybe, also.
It's not happening.
It's gonna happen. I've got 4 shots. I got Jimmy. I
have 4 too.
Yeah, and 3 of them haven't been in the bottom 2.
Yeah, you have 2 that haven't been in the bottom 2, and they're the 2 weaker ones.
And one of them is Cody. All right, let's get into this. So Queen Night. I still just gotta disagree. I like the theming. I like it. It's fun.
I loved the opening number this week. Really liked the cold open, actually.
But
the judges all like jamming out. I mean, that was the cold open. The judges were jamming out to that song.
Yeah, but
in their cars alone.
I know, but I wanted like a full.
But like, how would they fit that song into any of these dance styles? Like that song is like 3 or 4 songs in one.
Maybe you could have had it as the entire relay performance for everyone.
Or maybe that could have been the opening number instead of I Want It All.
I don't know. But yeah, let's get into this. So first up, Amanda and Alan doing a jive. I always love how happy the guy. I always love how happy the announcer is whenever he says Amanda's name. He says it like
You said
so
that
happy.
last week.
It's Amanda Klintz. Like just very, very infectiously happy.
I
But
like Professor Flitwick.
what?
Sounds like
How do you think
Professor
she did?
Flitwick. I agree with the judges that this was not her best performance. I think the judges' comments were a little bit too hard on her. I can already, like I've said this before, I think the show is trying to subtly bust her. And I think it's even more clear now because, like I said, they put her first, gave her some pretty, like, rough feedback. She had one of the lower scores. Like, she's normally riding 9s and 10s, and this week she got 3 8s.
Yeah, I'm honestly kind of surprised she survived this week. And I
I'm
think
not.
should she have been in the bottom 2, she would have possibly gone home. If it had been
No.
her instead of the Miz, no?
Oh, if it were JoJo and Amanda, they probably would have sent her home. The Miz could have been
No.
with anybody, and they were going to send him home.
Really? He was
I think so.
DOA?
I don't think he was DOA, but like I don't think he would have survived a bottom 2 trip with Amanda or JoJo. But the fact that she was the last one declared safe also, that's another thing. It makes her seem like it's a brush with elimination, even though she might not have been in any.
Do you think she can win though?
No.
What
Although
do you
now
think?
that JoJo's seemingly fallen from grace, she is the second highest scorer left.
And just so we're clear, the scores from Queen Week are now done. Like they were for this elimination, right? Okay.
Yeah, that's how it works because they do live voting throughout the show.
Well, let's move on from one of your team members. Let's go to mine. Olivia and Val doing a quick step. She got 3 10s.
Didn't deserve
And
them.
Didn't deserve them. Tell me why.
I mean, for one thing, like this is not her fault, but Fat Bottom Girls is too slow to be a quick step. The dance really wasn't bad. I saw a few times where it looked like she lost her footing or she lost body contact. Len gave her an 8. So, but I think maybe like the show just doesn't want her to go home, but I think we've seen all we're going to see from her.
Maybe the show kind of wants her as a villain figure-ish.
They might. I mean, if you throw the relay points in, she was number 1 this week. So I don't know if they're just like setting it up to like bust her and send her home next week. I hope not, but because I don't want them to do that to anybody.
Like I said, when we were starting this season, you were so down on Olivia. You thought she was one of the first ones gone, and like I said,
she should have been.
But
I still think
good.
I think she and Suni are definitely on borrowed time.
Why
like
Suni,
those
though?
two are the two that I would be very, very surprised if they're in the finale or even the semifinals.
But why Suni though?
I think well, for one thing, because this show hates me. Number 2, she has also been in the bottom 2. Like I think JoJo being in the bottom 2 this week might have scared her fans or scared at least some people. Like Suni was in the bottom 2 last week. This week she had one of the lower scores, so I think her days are definitely numbered.
All right, well, why don't we go on? Let's talk about Iman. Oh, we forgot to do like the clap, clap, stomp thing that we were doing. Or was it stomp, stomp, clap? No, it's stomp, stomp, clap.
It's stomp, stomp, clap. But no, of course, Iman was the big guy last week.
Grace, you're a podcaster, bus talking. I don't know where I was going with that. It was
Oh my god.
All right. Anyway, let's just really quickly move past that because we don't need to draw attention to it. Iman and Daniela. Yeah. What do you think?
This song might not have been a good fit for the superstitious. Another one bites the dust. I do like this song. Not my favorite Queen song, but
what is your favorite Queen song?
Probably Who Wants to Live Forever, but nobody did that one.
I mean, I like that one.
Or The Show Must Go On, but nobody did that one either. I don't know. But no, his strength was good. He pulled off the character of Paso really nicely. His shapes could have been a lot cleaner. It was another good week for him. I still think last week was and will be his peak. But now he's back at the bottom of the leaderboard, so
Yeah, what a fall
Sorry,
from
man.
grace. I mean, I still think he could be in the finale, and I think he's got a good shot of it. Last week's performance is like a season maker for him. Like, he just picked up so many fans. I think he's
yeah.
going to be carried for another week. He could maybe, like, barring a disaster, I think he's going to survive next week. Then I think he might be
depending
in
on who he's in the bottom, I think unless he's in the bottom two with Cody or Jimmy, he's going to be gone. And actually, I'm not even convinced. Like, if Jimmy and Iman are up for the judges' save, like, who would the judges pick?
I don't know. I thought this was going to be a double this week, though.
That's what I heard people saying on Twitter, but that was unconfirmed.
All right. Well, from Iman, we move on to Jimmy Allen and Emma. He's surprisingly.
Somebody to love. I did this song in
do that. I'm going to start doing the stomp stomp clap again.
When do we get to Suni?
All right. But yeah, Jimmy. We haven't really talked too much about him as a contender. But I think he might be. I mean, he's country. Like, he's kind of got a demographic that could, you know.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing because, like, when we were talking about how, like, Cody's shares a lot of the same fan base with Dancing with the Stars, so does Jimmy. Like, Jimmy is the type of contestant that people love on these shows. Like, a lot of people think that Tate Stevens won X Factor because he's country. That's not the reason, but we're not getting into that right now. This for me was nowhere near as good as last week. I thought his feet were flat. It could have been a lot smoother. I thought he was overscored too. But I mean, here's the thing. Somebody to love. Mel B did it better, and that's all I'm going to say.
But, like, look, I like Jimmy. I just feel like should he win, it would kind of be like the season could have a really good ending. Like, you could have someone like JoJo or Iman, you know, with like this incredible story that he had. I feel like to have, or, you know, Amanda, or, you know, some of these really good names, but to have Jimmy win would kind of be like, really?
Yeah.
It'd be like going to a really good steak restaurant and, like, ordering a piece of chicken. Like, you know, you know what I mean?
Chicken?
It could be good chicken, but, like, I'm just saying that there's so many better options, and, you know.
Yeah, I think Jimmy winning would definitely kind of put a damper on the season. I mean, I don't think I would mourn it as much as I mourned Bobby Bones winning. But I don't think I've actually, maybe when David Archuleta lost, but I was 13. So pay no mind to that. I was 13 and I was madly in love with him. I personally don't think Jimmy has a shot at the finale, but who knows?
Okay, well, let's move on and talk about The Miz and Whitney.
The person who definitely doesn't have a shot at the finale because they're gone.
Well, The Miz and Whitney, what do you think about this one?
I thought the Foxtrot part was quite good. The beginning I didn't really like that much. I put this as a bad pun, but I said, you know, it might have been Radio Gaga, but the dance was kind of blah, blah. That was the best I could come up with. Very tired. I'm not all that clever. Like, Adam thinks I'm, like, super quick-witted. I'm really not.
I think, I don't know about The Miz. I mean, like, I don't know what kind of to make of him this whole season. It was just kind of a weird experience. It kind of happened, and now it feels like it's over. And that's kind of all the thoughts I have on him.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking, like, because when he was announced as part of the cast, he was doing all these weird TikTok duets with Derek, like, trying to be funny. And, you know, he kept pulling out the family, and I was thinking, okay, he's a family man. He loves his wife. He loves his kids. People love that on these shows. And this week, he really didn't do that. I mean, we met his dad. And the dance was just not great. And he even said the one person he did not want to be in the bottom two against was JoJo. And, like, I could see it all over his and Whitney's faces during the elimination. Like, we all knew the judges were not going to save him over JoJo. So he had to know that too.
Yeah, I think he knew. He did know. He had to know.
He definitely knew.
But yeah, from the Miz, we move on to JoJo and Jenna doing a tango. I didn't know this song.
Body language. I've heard the song before, although I will say there's no way that JoJo is inspired by Freddie Mercury. She's too young to even know who he is or was. He's dead now.
You know, they gotta always bring it back to the theme. But yeah, not my favorite from JoJo though.
No, I was definitely thinking like if this gets a third straight perfect score, the judges can be bought. And it didn't. Len gave her a 9. She was still the highest scoring couples dance of the night. And also like the fact that Jenna told her she had to be sexy, like that totally goes against her child demographic.
Yeah, that's kind of not even fair to even ask.
Well, it's not her fault. They're assigned the dances and the songs.
But yeah, I agree though. I think the choreography was just kind of very forgettable. It just didn't seem very not one of my favorite of JoJo's. But
and I think this was the least popular song of the episode, so that might have also hurt them in the votes department.
But you know what? I think Scare is what she needs. I think it'll put a bit more fire into her, So
she's already pretty fiery.
Has she had a contemporary yet?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Oh, we'll see. Let's move on. We got Suni Lee and Sasha. Your number one pick.
Womp womp.
Womp womp indeed. What was going on here?
So Suni had tweeted a couple hours before the show that she wasn't feeling well. And a lot of people think, especially in the singing shows, that it's a preemptive excuse in case they suck. But now there's some Sasha tea regarding this dance.
Yeah.
First off, Suni was the one to do "We Will Rock You," which I knew somebody was going to do. But no. So apparently they were standing in the tunnel, and then because Suni had some stomach troubles, she was about to throw up. She started crying, and she looked at Sasha. She's like, "I can't do this. I can't do this." And Sasha kind of like pushed her to go on. And then afterwards, she had to run off stage and find the trash can. Poor thing.
What is she sick? What happened? What's going on?
It was a stomach thing.
Oh. But
yeah, some people were thinking because she does have a lot on her plate right now. It could have been stress. We'll never know. A lot of people are also hoping they get eliminated so Suni can recover. Maybe I'm just lucky and I get over stomach bugs relatively quickly. But yeah, I could kind of sense that something was like off with Suni. Her timing was great. Her technique was beautiful. Like it always is. But like when I found out Suni was doing "We Will Rock You," I was just like, oh no, I'm gonna lose her. She's gonna be gone this week. I'm pretty happy she stayed though, because she should have. But a lot of people are mad at Sasha for basically forcing her to go on. And a lot of people are mad at Tai for pointing out that she was sick every 5 minutes.
They have to, though. The show has to, I don't know.
They have to like pull the Lauren Elena and pull out the doctor in scrubs to make preemptive excuses.
Yes. I think the biggest thing though, the mustache. What?
Well, that's a Freddie Mercury mustache. Alan had one too.
I don't know, but yeah. So
like,
we got
those mustaches though. Like they always look like, I don't know, either the Pringles guy or like someone who's like been in like a criminal or something. I don't even know. Although I'm guessing back in Freddie Mercury's heyday, that was a big fad.
But we move on. Cody Rigsby and Cheryl doing a Foxtrot. He's still here, Grace.
Yeah, well, also he had the sob story probably of the whole season this week. I kind of like that the season hasn't really been heavy on sob stories. Like a lot of people say they miss Most Memorable Year Night, but like that whole week is dedicated to sob stories. I don't like when the sob stories are brought up every single week, but this is the first one like They're not. So like this is exactly how to handle sob stories. America's Got Talent. But no. So he talked about. So the song was "You're My Best Friend," which is kind of a weird song. I don't know.
Yeah, it's
And
different from what you would expect from Queen.
Yeah. But and Queen has a huge, impressive catalog. So yeah, Cody talked about his best friend who died from addiction almost 2 years ago. Cheryl is also a recovering alcoholic and an addict. She's been sober now just came on 3 years, so good for her. There was a lot of emotion this week, understandably, and it, like Matthew said, probably the best we've seen him dance. It honestly felt like a celebration, which is not something you see when talking about deceased loved ones very often.
Yeah. But the dance itself is pretty good. I mean, it was pretty.
It was.
I do think it was his best. I don't know though about his longevity. I still think he's gonna be in trouble soon.
If he is in the bottom 3 either of the next 2 weeks, he's toast.
Burnt toast.
This is where the Peloton bike runs him over.
I'm trying to think. I was trying to find a joke, and that's still it's perfect. I'm just imagining it's like slowly like going. All right, let's move on. Let's talk about our last act, Melora and Artem doing a Foxtrot. What do you think?
Love this song. This song, this is like one of those songs, like it's dramatic and it's awesome. This for me was my favorite dance of the night, which I never say about Foxtrots. Foxtrot is my least favorite style on this show. I thought the song was perfect for her. I thought Artem choreographed really well at her strengths. I think at this point she is a pretty safe bet for the final.
Yeah, Melora and Amanda, these two, I'm like, I have a sneaking fear that one of them might win, and I don't know.
I wouldn't be mad about it.
Well, I would be. We got Big Brother coming up, Grace. Like, come on.
You can watch it without me. You're gonna watch it regardless.
I am gonna watch it regardless, but it would be a lot of fun to podcast about it.
Should we just not do a draft though? Because I know nothing about the show.
It'll be so much fun. What if you like it? What if you get into it and you're like, this is a really good show?
Oh God.
We have to do a draft.
Did you hear the Masked Singer is going on tour, by the way?
How does that even work?
I don't know.
Well, Melora, the performance itself, I gotta be honest, I really don't like this dance style.
I don't either, but I did like
very
this dance.
limiting. There's one other one, the one that they did for one of the relays. I just really don't like it. It just feels very like this dance. Just the style just kind of doesn't jive with me. But she did well. She got straight 9s, and I think she'll be fine. I could also see her though going in a double. See, Matthew will watch it with me.
I'm thinking I think she'll get saved over almost anybody that would be in the bottom 2 with her. Maybe not one of the other girls. Like if it's Melora and Amanda, I don't even know who the judge. I'll probably send Amanda home actually, if that's the case. If it's, that's the only one I can think of. Because the other girls have been in the bottom 2 before. She's better than all the guys.
What's the ratio guy to girl?
There's 3 guys left and 5 girls.
All right. Well, let's get into these the relays. So we have the Jive.
That's when I thought the format couldn't
Foxtrot.
be any worse than last season. Because last season, what they did with relays is the judges just gave away extra points willy-nilly. This year, they gave 1 point to their favorite. So it just kind of felt like charity. What they did before is they used to rank them. So like 3rd place, you get 2 points. 2nd place, you get 4. 1st, you get 6, something like that. That I would have liked better because this was just like, who was your favorite?
Yeah, but how do you want to do this? Do you want to go through each one?
Yeah, should we talk about the wrong video first?
All right, you go for it.
All right, so, well, first, this is not Tyra's fault for once, but they were going to start with the Jive Relay. They played the Foxtrot Relay video. So that was actually kind of funny. All right, so the Jive Relay was The Miz, Iman, and Cody, aka the three that would not have won against anybody else. So in that order. So the Miz, his energy was good. His technique really wasn't bad at all either. Iman, I thought his legs were really sloppy. And he looked kind of clunky. I mean, I get that he's really tall, but I think maybe, like I said, I think he's had his moment.
Yeah.
And then Cody, if I had to give 1 point to somebody, I would have given mine to Cody, but not by a lot.
I agree. I think of the three of them, I think Cody had the best. The Miz was doing the
Len
Miz
and Bruno
stuff.
agree with us.
The Miz was kind of doing the Miz stuff, and Iman was just sloppy. So
yeah, I'm surprised that Carrie Ann and Derek both picked him as their favorite.
Yeah, that was weird. But let's talk about the other one. So we have next up, we have the Foxtrot. This is, man, I do not like this dance style. Like this is
Neither
like
do
with
I.
JoJo. I'm like, it just doesn't look comfortable to move like that. It looks like they're like hugging each other.
Yeah, so this one was JoJo, Olivia, and Jimmy. We almost had an encore of the J group last season because last season we were supposed to have Jeannie, Justina, and Johnny, but then Jeannie dropped out. So anyway, this was almost an encore of the J's. JoJo, I thought, did a nice job. Just felt like she was resisting a little bit. Olivia,
It looks uncomfortable, that style. Like really,
it does. Yeah, Olivia would have been my pick personally, and all four of the judges picked her. So clearly, I'm not alone in that. Jimmy, I thought was the weakest one, but all you really had to do was be the best, and Olivia was the best.
yeah. Look at where we are. We're saying Olivia was the best, better than JoJo. But
I've said it before, but this was also a style that suited Olivia better. Like if this were the Jive Relay, if they had the Jive, JoJo probably would have smoked Olivia and Jimmy.
all right. Well, last up, we have the Beanies Waltz. This was
We are the champions. Amanda, Suni, and Melora.
Yeah. How did they do?
I actually am going to have to agree with Derek. I would have given my point to Amanda. She was the first one. The way that she was able to do these like really intricate things, like with such beauty, like the way that, like the one point she like devil-paid her leg, and I was like, oh, my elbow just hit the table. That was really nice. Suni, I thought was holding back, but like Sasha was said that she would go easy on her because she was already sick. Melora, she looked good too. I just didn't think she looked quite as good as Amanda did. But Len and Bruno don't agree because they picked Melora. Carrie Ann picked Suni.
And Derek? Grace? Did I lose you? Did I lose you, Grace? Oh.
No, you're here.
Derek?
He picked Amanda. He picked
right.
Amanda, which is what I would have done.
All right. So that was the result, the episode. Then we have the result. We lose the Miz against JoJo. And looking forward, where do we go from here? What's coming up the next couple of weeks?
So next week was supposed to be fashion night, which makes absolutely no sense.
But
next week it is going to be Janet Jackson night.
That's a change. What happened to fashion?
I don't know. And there will be a double elimination. I think there's also going to be a second round. Not sure what it's going to be. What did they do last season?
Maybe it's fashion and Janet Jackson?
No, it's all Janet Jackson. And by the way, I am not wearing a costume for Janet Jackson night. Oh, yeah, that's the last theme because then we have the semifinals and they're doing the typical like judges thing and then the encore. Oh, they did dance offs last season, and there's an even number, so nobody gets a bye. So yeah, but no, I'm not gonna wear a costume for Janet Jackson night. And if I have to tell you why, I shouldn't have to.
But do you have any predictions? Who would you say are the four people in most danger going into next week?
Suni, Olivia, and any of the guys. I think Amanda, Melora, and JoJo are going to be in the finale at this point. The fourth spot's going to be a head scratcher.
I think the four people in trouble: Cody, Suni, Olivia, and Amanda. Do we say the same?
No.
Who we swap?
I said Olivia, Suni, and any of the guys. Oh, Janet Jackson's going to be there. Can Janet Jackson host the episode instead of Tyra? Or would that be equally as disastrous? I mean, I know she's had some qualms with live television herself.
But anything else you've heard about the show, or in general, or things you want to talk about moving forward?
There's only 3 weeks left.
In 3 weeks, we'll know.
I have no idea what's going to happen.
Being renewed.
Yeah.
But yeah, Grace, anything else from the show to discuss?
Val tweeted recently that he's thinking about retiring from the show.
He'll be back. He's definitely going to be back next season.
I don't know. I mean, well, I was going to say Max came back to the show, won, and then said he was going to retire. Val's already won the show twice, so he can't pull that excuse. But he did also mention on Instagram, he's like, this is the furthest I've gone on this show in 4 years. I'm like,
Val said that?
yeah. This is the furthest he's made it in a while. But that's what happens when you've been on the show too long.
Did he ever win?
Rumor Willis and Lori Hernandez.
All right. Lori Hernandez was more than 4 years ago?
She was season 23,
Wow.
2016.
That was a long time ago. But anyway, Grace, always a pleasure to talk to you. Where can we find you?
You can find me hopefully not having terrible side effects from the COVID-19 booster. You can also find me on Twitter right there. And if we're catching up with Alumni, I am seeing Simone Biles' tour on Friday.
Ooh, that's awesome.
Although I don't think she's actually doing it because she's still having some mental health repercussions from the Olympics.
Well, you can find me at Twitter at Adam Soapbox, and I'm finished drafting. I finished drafting a new YouTube video, so that'll be coming out eventually. Next week, though, gonna be a bit of a change in programming. I'm not gonna be around for a couple of days. I'm actually going to Disney, but we will fit in one of these probably maybe Thursday or so, a little later in the week as a result. But
I was gonna say
I'll still be.
We'll talk.
We'll talk, but I will still be very much keeping track of the results. If I'll be in one of the parks, probably watching, looking at my phone constantly during the performances. But yeah, other than that, Grace, always fun, always a pleasure to talk to you. And yes. Yeah, and we'll talk to you another time. Peace.
Good night.
Good night.